Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the DNA Sports Talk Show here on the Warrior Network. I'm Davis Gregory, and with me, as always, is Mr. Andrew Cross. And today we'll be previewing the Final Four, giving our predictions on those games, and also our national championship prediction. So let's get started. First game of the day will start at 6:09 p.m. on Saturday Eastern Time. It will be Auburn versus Virginia. The 5 seed takes on the last remaining 1 seed in this tournament. Auburn, very impressive win against Virginia as they lost one of their most valuable players, Chuma Okeke, to an ACL tear against North Carolina, and still beat Kentucky by 6 points in overtime. Jared Harper, Bryce Brown, both them two combined for 50 points. An incredible game from both of them. Jared Harper coming in clutch in overtime, and just fantastic overall game played by the Tigers. Defensively, offensively, they kept Kentucky in check. P.J. Washington did have a heck of a game, though. 28 points and 11 rebounds, double-double for the All-SEC player. But Auburn's still able to hold on and win that game. Andrew, what does that mean for a team that just lost their most valuable player and is riding a lot of momentum right now?
They are riding a lot of momentum. I think that's great that they beat Kentucky. Kentucky's always been on and off. Kentucky destroyed Auburn by 20-plus points in the regular season, so that's good momentum boost for Auburn. But Virginia, they played basically the opposite that Auburn does. Auburn, they really don't play that very well on the defense. They're decent on the defensive side. They get blocks here and there, but they're not Virginia, who's the best defensive team in the country. Virginia likes to slow it down. They have shooters. They have Ty Jerome, I think he's one of the best point guards in the nation. And Auburn likes to run. They love to shoot threes, and then Virginia loves to get it inside. DeAndre Hunter. They just have NBA recruits all over that starting lineup. Barely got by Purdue, who I was not high on Purdue. I didn't think they were a good team, but they barely got by Purdue. But I'm taking Auburn to win this game. I like their momentum, but both Jared Harper and Bryce Brown have to, drop 25-plus points if they want to win this game because, without Okeke, there's not that center, or that forward in the middle of your offense who can give you those, 20 points a night and give you those, 15 rebounds and a couple of blocks. So I think that, Horace Spencer, Purifoy has to play well. All those, Auburn, they have great depth, but their whole bench has to play well if they want to beat Virginia, because Virginia can play with anyone. We've seen, their 2 losses have been to Duke, and then they lost to Florida State in the ACC tournament. I like Virginia a lot because they play great defense and they can score too, but I'm going to go with Auburn because they've just been shooting the rock very well this year, and I predict them to move on to the national championship game.
And in Virginia's game against Purdue, Virginia hasn't allowed a team to shoot above 40% throughout the entire tournament until Purdue, when they made 14 threes that game, the Boilermakers did. Carson Edwards with 42 points. Virginia's defense definitely was not on their best in that game and had to have Kite make the game-winning jump shot at the end of the game to force overtime. So I'm taking Auburn as well in this game. Not a biased pick. I'm just going to state that. I just honestly think that Auburn has the best chance to win this game. If Auburn can knock down those threes, start building that momentum up, start building a lot of confidence, then they can win this basketball game and move on to the national championship. Now, for our next game, we've got Michigan State versus Texas Tech. The Big Ten Player of the Year goes up against the Big 12 Player of the Year, Cassius Winston, versus Texas Tech's guard of
Jared Culver.
Culver. So it will be a very fun matchup to watch on Saturday night. That game comes on about 8 o'clock. That will be the matchup that I'm going to look at, though. Cassius Winston, undersized, however, 6 foot, but still plays good defense and still can get the offense going for Tom Izzo's Spartans. Michigan State is a very experienced team, especially with Coach Izzo. I'm taking Michigan State in this game. Both teams match up really well when you look at the overall team stats and everything. Winston will probably be switched off of Culver, though, because of the height of Culver being a 6'5" guard. But both of them have multiple double-doubles this tournament, and both of them have multiple 20-plus point games. It will be a very fun matchup.
I'm going to predict Michigan State to blow them out. I love Texas Tech. I think they're a great team. They have stars up and down their lineup. But Michigan State, Tom Izzo, to think that they lost their second-best player halfway through the season, and they lost to unranked Indiana twice, and once at home, it's just great to see them back in this position in the Final Four. Cassius Winston, obviously a great player. He played with Miles Bridges back in the day, and they never won anything, and it's great to see him here in the Final Four. But Nick Ward, Matt McQuaid, they have shooters, they have inside players up and down this lineup. I'm also going to go with Michigan State here. I predict them to go to the Final Four. But I think it's going to be a close one. I can see Texas Tech, even though, they play in the Big 12, not necessarily, it was a good conference, but not necessarily the best of conference this year. I can see Texas Tech maybe getting down a little bit early, but coming back and making it a game. But, Winston and McQuaid are going to bury some threes down the stretch to keep Michigan State in the lead. They beat some very good teams this tournament. They beat Duke. I thought Duke was unstoppable. I thought they were going to win the tournament, and they didn't. They upset them by playing great defense and great offense on both ends of the floor. So yeah, we're going to have Michigan State. I guess we're both in agreement, Michigan State and Auburn for the championship.
And in that one, might as well go ahead and predict it because the game will be played on Monday, and we normally film our show here on Wednesday. So Michigan State, Auburn. I love Auburn and what they've done this year, but it's going to be really tough to beat a Tom Izzo coach team. Izzo has been to the Final Four countless times. He's only won it twice, though. 2002 and 1999, his first year as head coach of the Spartans. So you best believe that he'll be looking for some redemption here in the national championship game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a really, really good game. But I think I'm going to have to go with Michigan State in this game.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go with Michigan State. Auburn, if they had Okeke, I maybe would pick Auburn. It depends how I'd see them play against Virginia. If they, built a lead against Virginia and held on the second half with Okeke, probably would have picked Auburn. But, Michigan State, they're experienced, Coach Izzo, all those factors come in. The fact that they can shoot and get it inside and play good defense. They're just one of the best teams in the country. I didn't think they'd be here in this position. I thought that they'd lose to Duke, but they've played well throughout the tournament, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Michigan State for the championship. I think Auburn keeps it close though with their threes.
Right, and again, it'll really all be based off of Auburn's play against Virginia. Auburn against Kentucky, only 7 made threes. The last time they did that was early March when they went to Alabama and beat Alabama, and they shot again and made 7 threes in that one. So it will be a very fun matchup, both of these games, and then our national championship game. And this has been a really fun tournament, though. March is always a fun time, and we want to thank you all for watching our episodes of our coverage of the March Madness tournament. And we hope you all will come back for our next episode, and we will keep you updated on that topic when it comes around to that time. Next week, however, we'll probably be covering the national championship game, giving our summary on that. But until then, we will see you next time.